Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how I made these cute little wall planters with the 5 surprise balls. You will need a Dollar Tree 5x7 canvas, some jumbo popsicle sticks and train ballast, Mod Podge, and plants of your choice, and of course some type of glue to attach the planters. First I am scoring off the canvas because we will not need that. I'm using an X-Acto knife. You can easily use a scissor. You don't have to use an X-Acto knife. Next, I am taking off the edges around the frame, which has staples all along the back. You can easily rip the canvas paper off away from the staples and just leave the staples, but I prefer to take everything out. So once I do that, then I carefully pry up the staples and remove them, because everything's just much smoother that way when you go to hang it on your wall, so everything's nice and flush. The staples can be a bit of a pain to get out, but the wood is really soft, so it's not too bad. Just mind your fingers so you don't injure yourself. So after that, I take a sandpaper and lightly sand it just to smooth it over off any rough edges. Get it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to use some of the jumbo popsicle sticks to frame out the top. You could do 4 or you could do 3. I went ahead and did 3 because I just thought it looked better. So I think these would also make great little palettes for like the dolls as well. That could be another cute option. There's a lot of different things we could do with those canvas frames. So I have some other ideas coming up with that. Right now I'm just trimming down those jumbo popsicle sticks and sanding down the edges a little. It's okay if your lines are not totally straight, because once you glue them on, you can just come back with the sandpaper and sand them more flush to the canvas frame. So once you've gotten the construction of this done, then we can move on to making the planters, which is going to take a while to dry. This project might be a good project you could do within a week's time, like each evening or whatever, because you're going to need plenty of drying time for the planters. They're going to take at least 2 or 3 days to dry, depending on the weather in your area. It's pretty hot here, so mine took a couple days to dry, but even still, it takes a while. So I'm going to glue these slats down and space them out as evenly as I can. There's no point in measuring. I went ahead and used the Aleene's tacky glue instead of wood glue because it sands off easier, and if you want to stain this, I think it'll work a little bit better. But I'm choosing to leave mine just the natural wood finish. And I also have those lobster clasps I use to hold everything in place while it's drying, so it gets a nice, secure, snug, adhesive fit to the glue. I'm using a medium grit train ballast you can find in the hobby store. Hobby Lobby carries it, or a place that sells miniatures. So I'm pouring out as much as I think I need. You could just measure each container too, and then go from there to see how much you need. And now I'm going to make like a cement mixture with the Mod Podge, and I want to mix it to the consistency of wet cement. So I just keep mixing until I get it where I want it. You don't want it chunky or too dry in some spots. You want it just enough goopy where it's like dripping off the popsicle stick or whatever. I use the popsicle sticks because once you used them, that's it. You can't reuse them. So I just use something disposable, and I'm using a glass container to mix it in because that's easy cleanup. Once it dries, you can soak it in some warm water and the Mod Podge will clean up since it's water-based, and you can reuse the container. So now I'm just mixing and mixing and mixing until I get it to the right consistency. It's almost there, just need to add a little more. You'll see how it's just a little goopy like cement. So once you get it to there, that's where you want it. And you don't want to take too long to work with this stuff because it'll start drying quick, because Mod Podge does start to set up and dry pretty quickly. Now, once you have plants selected, you can start potting. These 5 surprise wedges don't stand up straight, so I had to put them in containers to keep them from toppling over. And that's what I'm doing here, so I can fill each container, because they will need to sit up for a little bit before you can move them around. And depending on the plant you're putting inside there will depend on how much of the mixture you need to add in. The one I'm going to do now, the stems are pretty thin, so I'm adding more mixture as opposed to less, because it doesn't take up much space once you push them in. If you're using something a little bit larger, then you're going to want to put less and kind of pour in the mixture around it so it holds better. I'm thinking you could also do styrofoam and plant the plants inside the styrofoam if you want it to use less mixture, and then just place the Mod Podge Ballast mixture over the top of that, and it would also make your planter lighter and use less mixture as well. But I went ahead and did it this way. I don't have any styrofoam on hand. I don't think that plant, it'd have to probably be a white styrofoam. I don't think that fluorofoam would work. It might, but yeah, it's possible. Now I'm doing the succulents. I do 4 total, but I only show you guys the succulents and the one previous to this. They go in very shallow. I just let them kind of press in on the surface of the mixture and set those aside to dry. I had a little bit left over once I was done, and I put the remaining in the small jar. You can see it's all white, but once it's totally dry, it'll be brown again, and it won't be that milky color. You'll see that later on as they start to set up. So each one that was the first one I did. You can see it's starting to set up a little bit. It's not as milky looking. So they are definitely going to take a couple of days to completely set. I went ahead and added a regular size popsicle stick in the center there, and I just thought it gave it a better look. It looks a little bit more like a palette. So now that these have set up for about an hour, I'm going to go ahead and put them on. I'm using hot glue here since it's quick for the video, but I would use E6000 for a permanent hold. Wood glue would not work, so E6000 is the best way to go. I didn't do it here, like I said, for the video, just so I could do it quickly. So I will probably have to go back and redo these with the E6000 once I permanently put this up in the dollhouse. So these make really cute little planters. They could easily be hung on the wall even without the wood palette. But you know, so many different options to do with these little plastic balls. And I'm enjoying trying to come up with ideas for them. I know a lot of people have already used them for planters, but I don't know if many people use the train ballast for planters. I've seen some people do it. I think a lot of miniaturists do it, but I'm not sure about 1/6 scale or people who do that. So train ballast comes in all kinds of different textures and colors, and I'm using the medium brown one to make it look like soil. They also have some that look like rocks and stuff, so you can even use those to be like mini rocks if you wanted to do rocks inside a planter. Now I'm on to the last one. I figured this would be cute up in the dollhouse, so it would be like a little bit of an herb garden or something up there on the patio. Not all of them are quite herb looking, but a few of them are. It's really hard to find plants that look true to, you know, the 1/6 scale size. I've found a few over the years that really do look good, and sometimes it's hard to find them again. So here we are, all done. I made this one with the plants, and you can see how it's setting up now. It's looking darker. The first one I did is looking really dark, but you can see that milky color is not there anymore. When I press on it, it's spongy, so it's only set up on the very surface. It's not ready yet. They're going to take a couple of days to dry. So like I said, you could do this, a little project each night, just a little bit. I did a second one. I figured I'd make it like a little stand for like a market. I might put this in the supermarket. I did 2 of the deeper sections on the base, and then I did the 2 slanted sections on top. So here we are, it's all complete. I temporarily put it on the wall in the dollhouse because this area still needs to be completed, but eventually it will be there as a permanent fixture on the wall, and I think it looks quite cute. So now Laura has more plants to enjoy, and I'm quite happy with it. Here it is in the supermarket. And my supermarket needs more work, but we'll get there eventually. So as all my dioramas are a work in progress. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.